Many Christians I know have that one Bible verse that they cling to like a life raft when things are hard or they feel like they are drowning. My verse during these times of turbulence in my spiritual life has been John 6:68. And in this passage, John describes how a lot of Jesus' disciples had turned away and had decided that they didn't want to follow him anymore. And Jesus turns around at the people who are still left and says, "Would you like to leave also?" And Peter says, "Lord, to whom shall I go? You have the words of eternal life." And this is a verse that sums up how I have felt during different dry and difficult seasons of my spiritual life. Where else would I go? If you spend any amount of time on TikTok or Reddit boards, you may know that a lot of Christians are deconstructing their faith, reconsidering what they believe, maybe even walking away from their faith altogether. Because lots of times this is because of the hypocrisy or the hurt that they've experienced in the church. And I understand this. Living out our faith is really hard. Sometimes we're just barely holding on by a thread. And I've been a believer now for 30 years. And for most of those 30 years, I've been involved in leadership in the churches that I belong to. The blessing of leadership is being able to serve God, serve his people, have a front row seat into how God is working in people's lives. The dark side of serving in leadership is seeing how the sausage is made, and it's not pretty. And knowing that sometimes it's real people with real lives who are being pushed through that meat grinder. I've spent a lot of time with people who've experienced hurt and pain through the church, and there's a unique kind of spiritual existential pain that comes from that kind of spiritual hurt. I remember a particular season in my life as a believer when I couldn't even get in the car to drive to church without the tears just starting to come. I remember the pain of my husband and I deciding to leave a church and realizing that nobody in that church was interested in maintaining a relationship with us after we left. So when I'm wrestling with my faith, struggling with God, I need this reminder that my faith is centered on Jesus and that he is bigger and greater than all of the human institutions that represent him. And accepting that the church is an imperfect place gives me permission and the courage to come back and offer my imperfect gifts. So God is still writing my story of grace, just as he's still writing yours. So whether you're exploring faith, exploring City Church, maybe just wanting to re-engage with community, with other people, I hope you'll join me and my husband Tyler in our home for beta groups in the month of October. We'll be meeting on Monday nights beginning tomorrow, and we hope to see you there.